أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. أياما معدودات، فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر، وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين، فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له، وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم، ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر، يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون. وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان، فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداع إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم صدق الله العظيم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا قيما لينذر بأسا شديدا من لدنه ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا حسنا. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد بن عبد الله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وإخوانه من الأنبياء والمرسلين والتابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين، وبعد. فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم، ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين ولما ألزم وأوجب غير جاحدين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. My dear respected brothers, youngsters, elders, we have always, all of us have taken first class, business class, and economy classes, right? We're all accustomed to flying. Mostly we take economy class, right? It's cheaper, it's fair, lower price, there's a lot of room for bargain, cheaper, and it takes you from A to B, from your origin to B, your destination. You get there. And then there is business class and first class. Which one comes first? First class? First class is the highest, right? Then business class or business class? First class, right? MashaAllah, looks like you fly a lot. So first class, business class, and then economy. What do we see when we enter the airplane? We go through. They make you go through those classes to see how it looks like, how does it feel like. But I don't remember ever sitting in one of those classes. I'm always in economy class. I'll be fortunate if I can get those extra, room, for your leg space. So most people, they fly or they take economy class. That's the bulk of the passengers. Very few people are in business class, if any. Sometimes it just go empty. Nobody is there. And so why did I give this example? In fasting, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah, in his great collection he talks about our deen. What is our deen? Our tradition, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna deena indallahi al-Islam. That the deen, your tradition, is submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does that mean? He explains it in 4 volumes. Very little, not too many. Maybe 2,000 pages. Very simple. And he divides that into 40 chapters, right? 40. 40 number is a very, very significant and a special number, right? Arba'in. So in that book, he talks about the inner aspects of our ibadat. Like we stand up and we pray. Allahu Akbar, I raise my hand, I'm standing, I'm facing towards the Qibla. These are acts of worship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders to do it in a certain way, and we do it. Whether we know what is the significance of standing and placing your hands here. Why not just stand like this, or put your hands in the back, or stand like this, right? So all these different aspects, asrarul ibadat, the inner aspects of our ibadat. So he takes every ibadah, for example, your wudu, and your prayer, your hajj, right? For all of those acts that you do, there is a zahir, there's an outer aspect, and then there's an inner aspect of all of these ibadah that we do. One is praying Allahu Akbar and mashallah, or reciting Quran, mashallah. A brother read so beautifully that it moved us, mashallah. It brought the spirit to this gathering. So one is reading Quran like that, right? Reading and mashallah, looking, okay, I need to finish this 2 pages because I need to do 2 pages. Or I need to recite Quran because my dad told me, or because I've made this commitment and I have to keep up. And one is enjoying the Quran, delving in the meanings of the Quran and enjoying it, being in that moment, being in that zone of you having a conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the greatest speech, the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you are able to recite those verses. Isn't that great? So that's the inner aspect of it. One is that you're getting the ajr of al-hasanatu bi'ashri amthaliha. For each letter that you recite from the Quran, you're getting 10 hasanat. MashaAllah. But what is the inner aspect of that? So he talks about all different ibadat. So he talks about fasting. And in the chapter of fasting, he has one portion of it where he talks about these 3 different criterias of fasting. He says that there are 3 types of people who fast. There's the economy class, there's the first class, and the business class. And he terms them as Sawmul Umum, right? Economy, right? Umum. And then Sawmul Khusus, special. The fasting of the elite. And Sawmu Khusus al-Khusus, the elite of the elite. Top notch, the cream, the top 2%, right? So he divides the people into these 3 different categories. And then he says that most people, the umum, right? The bulk of people who fast, they are fasting with the outer sense of fasting. They fast from the three major things, right? You ask any imam, any simple person who knows a little bit about the deen, he will say, okay, fasting is from three things. From the break of dawn until sunset, with the intention of fasting. That's it. Right? Someone who does that, he has completed the fard, the obligation of fasting, and he is done, or she is done. So that's Sawmul Umum, that's the economy class. You know, leg space, maybe did a little more, ibadat, read a little more Quran, did some Taraweeh, that's your, your extra $20, $40 that you pay for that. It's amazing space, even the space you have in the 35,000 above the ground, you still need to pay for a little space. So that's the fasting of the awam, the umum, the bulk of people. That's how they fast. It's very simple, straightforward. And then he says the Sawmul Khusus. The Sawmul Khusus is a special fasting. The people who are in, again, which class? Above. There's an ikhtilaf in Madai here as well. What is the qawl rajih? What is the preferred view on this? First class is above economy. Okay, we go with that. Business first? First class is first class at the top. Okay, business class? In the middle? So the middle. So, the middle. Let's jump to that, to the top one. Who are the elite of the elite? And then we can figure out what's in between. So if you know the far right, the far left, you know who are they? The people who are in Salat al-Mustaqim, right? We're all liberals, right? Liberal. We stay on the middle way. So the elite of the elite are the fasting of the prophets. They fast from food and drink and the rest. And they fast from all the things that Allah has been forbidden from. And they fast from everything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. From the break of dawn until sunset, not a single moment passes. It's like the guy who jumped on that first class and he says, oh, I'm so tired, I need to get to work, I have this huge presentation, I have to be rested and ready to give this presentation, I'm going to sleep the whole way. And he gets on this flight, 14-hour flight, and goes to sleep the whole entire, and he takes the full advantage of that stretch, bed where you can lay down and sleep like as you're at home. 35,000 above the ground, mashallah. So they start the fast until they break the fast, and actually the 24-hour life is such that they don't think anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They only think of Allah. They only focus on Allah. They're only with Allah. And the things that break their fast is if they think anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even for a moment. If they think about dunya, their fast is broken. That's the highest level. And now what is in between? Those people who fast, right, from the economy class, from the umum, but also they fast from 5 or 6 things. And he breaks it down. What are the things that they fast from? Number 1 is that they protect their eyes. Sawmul Ayn. Because of a person who is fasting from food and drinking, that's, the bare minimum. That's skeleton. The skeleton of fasting. That's the bare minimum. You have to, that's a fard, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it fard, and that's how you're going to do it. Just good, not even good enough. Just passing marks, right? Just passing marks. You didn't fail, but in terms of the internal aspect of fasting, that person is a failure. And that's why one of the great saints used to say that there are how many people who are fasting, but they are actually not fasting. And how many people who are not fasting, but they are actually fasting. We're going to complain, and we have been complaining for the past few years, that fast is such a long day that we have to fast nowadays. It's going to get better, right? Especially our kids who go to school, right? We have game, we have everything, and we have the homework, and then tarawih, and then fasting, and then so many other things, right? Difficult, very difficult. But what if a person who is fasting, doing the fast, like he's fasting from the three things, but he's committing sins with his eyes? The Prophet ﷺ said that how many people are fasting, but they don't have anything of their fast except hunger and thirst. They started, off on a good note, but ended up sitting with their eyes, right? And they lose out. They are fasting, but they are actually not fasting, because the internal aspect of fasting is to guard yourself and protect yourself from disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through your eyes. In particular, that's the first one that he mentions. And how many people who do not fast but they are fasting? I met my teacher who also passed away. I was there when his father passed away. So his father died, this was early 2002 or 3, I remember. But in the late 90s, while I was a student, I remember the first year, because his house was nearby our madrasa where we used to study, and we used to also sometimes go to his father's house and help him out because he was an elderly person, and he was also handicapped. He couldn't get around well. So one year before he died, a few years before he died, he wasn't able to fast. The doctors told him that you cannot fast. And then one day we were there helping out with, chores of things at home, and he was crying, and he said, "You know what? This year I'm not able to fast. I'm not able to fast this year. I've been fasting all my life." Our youngsters think about this, that there are people who are crying because they cannot fast. And therefore the Prophet ﷺ said, he gave us this beautiful, beautiful advice. I think we should all, remember this hadith. Whenever we intend something, that niyatul mu'mini khayru min amali, that a believer's intention is greater than his action. Greater than his action. You intend something and you're not able to do it, you will get the reward, still get the reward. And perhaps maybe that reward be accepted as well. Right? There was this great scholar who couldn't go for Hajj, and then eventually he went for Hajj and he cried and he did ibadah so well, did Hajj so well, and then in the end he made dua to Allah and he said, mashallah, I have done so well, my Hajj is going to be accepted. And then he fell asleep in a dream. He saw the Prophet ﷺ and he asked the Prophet ﷺ that, how did it go? How was my Hajj? And the Prophet ﷺ said that, you know what happened this year? No one's Hajj was accepted. There was a problem with everyone's Hajj this year. Someone had a problem somewhere. So he said that, really? All these people came for Hajj, not a single person? He said, yes, but there was one person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted his good deed. And because of him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extended that acceptance and he included all the Hujjaj. And Allah accepted everyone's Hajj because of this person. And do you know who that person is? He was the person that he really wanted to go for Hajj. And every year he wanted to, and he cried and he made dua and he couldn't go. And the thing that hold him back, he couldn't go for Hajj, the reason why he couldn't go was because he was serving his mom. Isn't that so beautiful? Because of him serving his mom and intending to go for Hajj. He didn't do Hajj, but just his intention was so powerful that Allah accepted that intention, and through that intention Allah accepted everyone's Hajj who actually did Hajj. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy works in very mysterious ways. One of the scholars, he said that there are three things that are hidden in three things. Three things are hidden in three things. Number one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's acceptance of an action is hidden in that action. So you do a lot of, right? We just prayed Maghrib, we just heard all this beautiful qira'at of the Quran. Did we see anything in return? Did we see that, fireworks or something? We didn't see anything. We didn't experience that. Nothing tangible came to us, right? We didn't see anything happening physically. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hid that. And also the acceptance of that amal is also hidden. And that's through His mercy. Because He's merciful, He has hid the acceptance or the what you could say, the outcome of a certain action. Allah has hidden from the believers and from the good doers. And number two, so that's number one. Number two, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hid His punishment for those who do wrong. Right? If someone did something wrong and the punishment came immediately, that would be disastrous, right? We'll be gone, long time ago. Allah doesn't even unveil our sins to others because Allah is afu. He's ghafur and afu and sattar. He forgives and erases and also covers up. The three incredible qualities of God. That we can also attain some of that. تَخَلَّقُوا بِأَخْلَاقِ اللَّهِ. Take on the attributes of God. What does that mean? That you forgive, pardon, erase, don't bring mention of it again. So that's two. Number three, the third one is amazing. He said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hid the state of every believer from another believer. I don't know which maqam he is in right now. The state with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He doesn't know my state. I don't know your state. I don't know anyone's. Nobody knows anyone's state before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's amazing. Allah has hid all of those things from us, from each other. We don't know. A person could be a wali and he looks like a simple person, right? No wonder how this whole world is still functioning while there's so much bad and evil around. It is because of those simple people that you will see them in the masjid and you never notice who they are. And they are the awliya, the friends of Allah. They are the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So fasting, some people are fasting, but still they're not fasting. That person was crying, that the father, my teacher, was crying. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted that intention, that yearning for fasting, more than all of his fasting that he did throughout his life. This is what I believe. Very true. The Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith where the meaning is that the person, when in his last moments of his life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward that person for all the good deed that he was doing all along throughout his life, if he's not able to do it towards the end of his life. A person who's continuously does an ibadah and towards the end he's not able to do much, that's okay. Allah will judge him and reward him according to his past. All those good deeds, and it doesn't, not the other way around. It doesn't happen the same way with bad deeds, with sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful, beyond even our imagination, that Allah will accept all the good deeds and also accept at that time when a person is not able to do much. So the older folks who are not able to do much, we young people and healthy people should not look down upon them. Right? Maybe in their past they have done so much that they are in a state where very little will suffice them. Will even be better than their acts that they have been doing all throughout their lives. So, the fasting of the eyes, right? The fasting of the eyes, very important. That's the eyes, the gaze is one of the arrows of shaitan, right? You look wherever you look. You know, Ramadan is coming, and we need to protect our eyes. And one of the most difficult places in this era, in this time that we live in, are the screens, are our screens that we have in our pockets or on our desks or elsewhere or in our bedrooms, living rooms. Just try to put those screens in hijab during Ramadan, right? Hijab month for all the screens, the big screens. The smaller screens, you can figure something out. Put some filters on them. Ramadan, it's a special day, special days and special night. We have to protect them. And the practice that we do in Ramadan, hopefully inshallah, that exercise of 30 days and 30 nights will continue throughout the year. It will help. So protecting the eyes. So all these, especially with our social media, that all these apps that we have, switch them off for Ramadan. Turn off all the notifications. Set a time for them. Maybe send out an email to all of your Facebook fans and your followers and all those people on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, Snapchat. Snap it off. Let's unplug from these things. They benefit very, very, very little. Unless if you live, that's your bread and butter. Facebook is your bread and butter, meaning that you run a business through Facebook or whatever medium that you're using, right? Fine. But for just browsing and scrolling down, and you post things and you're waiting for how many likes and so on and so forth, for Ramadan, let's try to fast from all of these things. It's a big, big waste of time. Trust me, you get only 5% maybe benefit out of it. The rest 95, at least 95 is just junk and garbage, right? The garbage that came in, throw it out in Ramadan. And I say this for myself as well. I'm saying it for all of us. We all need that. Let all of the people know that I will not be on any of these and I will not respond to any message that you send me through whatever, Messenger, all those other things that you use. If you know me and you really want to reach out to me, you may have my number. And if you have my number, it means you can call me and text me. Use that. Or email, right? Or meet in person, right? If it's that important. So that's one of the big areas where a lot of that stuff comes in. Filter that out. Filter it out. Maybe delete those apps for 1 month. It's not going to hurt you, right? So protecting the eye. So that's the first part. The second part, he says, to protect your tongue, which is the weapon of mass destruction. This was a phrase that was used in the post-2001, right? Weapon of mass destruction. So this is actually the weapon of mass destruction. A small little thing, as they say in Arabic, جرمه صغير وجرمه كبير. The size is very small, but the destruction is huge. Big destruction. You can tear down a whole country, a whole nation. Just a few words. Didn't it happen? Just a few sentences. War starts, right? People kill each other. All kinds of things. So protecting the tongue, right? Fasting of the tongue. Just like fasting of the eyes, fasting of the tongue. A person said that the Prophet ﷺ was sitting there and someone said that, there's these two ladies that are complaining about their fasting and, it's very hard for them. Can you give them some kind of a break today? They can break their fast and, call it a day, and make it up later because they're not able to continue. They're just struggling. The Prophet ﷺ said, bring them to me. They came. The Prophet ﷺ said that bring 2 bowls. And he said, vomit in these 2 bowls. Stick a finger and vomit. They did. And you know what came out? Fresh flesh and blood and meat. So gross, right? That's what the Quran is saying. ولا يغتب بعضكم بعضا أيحب أحدكم أن يأكل لحم أخيه ميتا فكرهتموه. You will dislike to eat from your dead brother's flesh, his body, dead body. We won't even eat human flesh, human meat, right? What about a dead person? It's like that. So the Prophet ﷺ actually told them to vomit, and they did vomit. And the Prophet ﷺ said that they fasted from the morning from eating and drink, but they sat there gossiping, talking, backbiting, so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so. And that's what they were doing. They were eating the flesh of people. They sat there. That's what the hadith says. They sat there eating from the flesh of their sisters and brothers. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Sadaqa Rasulullah. The Prophet ﷺ, what he said is true. Right? And why is it such a big sin? Why is backbiting such a great sin? And it's very interesting if you look at Ramadan fasting and backbiting. They are so different from one another. They don't go together. Even any time during the whole year, it's a great sin. But especially in Ramadan, protecting the tongue and not backbiting, right? Why is it a great sin? Because you are talking about other people and you are damaging their honor. And one of the maqasid, one of the aims of the Sharia, of our deen, is to protect honor. Protect the honor. There are five aims of the Sharia. One is to protect honor, protect property, protect the intellect, protect religion, and there's the fifth one. So protecting the honor is one of the aims of the Sharia. And someone who backbites another person, that person is not there to defend himself or herself. If I say something wrong about someone in their face, it's bad. But if you are saying it behind his back, that person doesn't know. And he cannot respond to it. If I'm saying in front of him, he or she can respond. So, therefore, it's a great sin. Great sin. Backbiting, lying, foul language, right? That normally we're accustomed to. And sometimes we change the word, right? We switch to a better word, right? Protecting your tongue, protecting the tongue, that's very important. And therefore the scholars say to do good deeds, it's not that important than protecting and guarding your limbs from sins, committing sins. And so that's number 2, eyes and tongue. Number 3, ears, protecting your ears from anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prohibited. So backbiting, saying it, is equal as to the person who's listening to it. And therefore the Prophet ﷺ said in both occasions that a person who is listening, someone who's backbiting, and the person who's listening to it, they are equal in sinning. In terms of the sin, they are both equal. And if you hear someone, if you're in a gathering or in a place where someone is, it happens, and we do it sometimes in a very subtle way that, you and I know who are we talking about, right? And then I'm not going to name that person, and then we start talking about that person, although we both know. That's backbiting. That's doing a shortcut, as if it's not a sin. As if it's not ghibah, it's not backbiting. We didn't say the name, right? But we know what we're talking about, right? Once that's known, you should not proceed. You should just stay quiet. And if someone says something, either you tell the person, just be quiet. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about him or her. Or, if you can't do that, walk away. What if you're in a meeting, your colleagues are around and you cannot walk away from the meeting? What do? You show that you dislike what you heard from your parents, from your gesture. Make sure that person knows that you don't agree with this statement or what you said. To show that. And inshallah, hopefully that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you and you will not fall into the sin of backbiting. So the ears. So 1, 2, 3. The fourth, he says, to stay away from sins in terms of all the rest of the limbs. Your hands, your feet. So how do you sin with your hands? Now it's very simple. Most of the things actually happen with your fingers, right? You're typing, you're answering, you're commenting, right? Saying something, searching something. It includes your fingers, your hand, right? So protecting yourself from sinning with your hands, your feet, walking towards something that is prohibited, right? Going to somewhere where you're not supposed to go, right? So protecting your limbs. And the fifth will be protecting your intellect. Protecting your intellect from even thinking of any sinful thing. Then you have reached to which class we are in? The business class. Inshallah. Inshallah. It's not difficult. You know, one of my teachers used to say that, what's the definition of light, for example? There's many ways of thinking. We have electricity, there's the bulbs in, there's all the things. But what is the other way of also saying what is light? How do you define in your science class? The absence of darkness. Darkness is the absence of light. So you take one away, the other one will automatically exist. And to fight shaitan is not that difficult. It's very easy. Very easy. And therefore, it's very interesting that the Quran, the way how it explains on the Day of Judgment, the shaitan will say, I didn't do anything. I didn't force you. I just told you what to do. I didn't force you. ما أنا بمصرخكم وما أنتم إني وقال الشيطان لما قضي الأمر الله وعدكم وعد الحق وعدتكم فأخلفتكم وما كان لي عليكم من سلطان. I didn't have any power over you. You are not hopeless and helpless. You had the ability. You had the power. I just told you. I was just that navigator that was saying turn left, turn right, turn left, turn right, go straight, detour from the right path. Always takes you left. Ashab al-shimal, right? So I just did that to you. The driver cannot say, oh, I was late because, my GPS took me, took me on a wrong route. Well, that's not a good excuse. Or I got into an accident because the GPS told me to take instead of taking the local, take the highway. That's not an excuse. Or the GPS told you to drive 65 and you were driving, it was, the sign said, 45. The cop is going to say, you should read that sign. Why are you reading the sign that is on your GPS, right? So that's how shaitan does, right? Even on the day of judgment, he will say that I have nothing to do with you. I just told you. You are the doer. You had the power to do it or not do it. So to protect yourself, it's the season in Ramadan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given all of us. That shaitan will be tied away. And he's locked. So just like shaitan is locked in the oceans, chained, وَتُصَفَّدُ فِيهِ مَرَدَةُ الشَّيَاطِينَ, as the Prophet ﷺ said that the big shayateen, they're all tied in the ocean. And let's tie all of our desires, all of our things that we have pleasure in doing that displeases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let's tie those away. Let's chain them up. Let's lock them up. Put them in a closet, right? The remote for your television, just put it away, lock it away. Right? Protect yourself. Insha'Allah, you will have a very blessful Ramadan. Your Ramadan will be blessed. Just like the Prophet ﷺ yearned for the month of Ramadan, 2 months ahead of starting of Ramadan. Allahumma barik lana fi Rajab wa Sha'ban wa ballighna Ramadan. And then there's one dua that the Prophet which means that, oh Allah, bless us in the month of Rajab and Sha'ban and allow us to reach the month of Ramadan. And then he said a dua that he said, learn it and teach to others as well. And I want all of you to say this dua and memorize it. Very simple, very easy. Allahumma sallimni li Ramadan wa sallim Ramadan li wa sallimni mutaqabbala. Oh Allah, give me the ability to be sound and to reach the month of Ramadan, and that Ramadan reaches me in a sound state, and let Ramadan reach me accepted, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts all of my good deeds, all of my actions, all of my ibadat, and protects me and keeps it and preserves it and keeps it protected all the way till the end. And therefore, there's a, in terms of the physical aspect of Ramadan, the food aspect, which is actually one of the main things that when we fast, what are we fasting from? Food, right? So we don't eat for 15, 16 hours. But what happens a lot of times? We have a good suhoor, good iftar. Good iftar because we fasted the whole day. We need to have something that is equivalent to breakfast. Break the fast. So breakfast. Because we never had breakfast. We were fasting at that time, right? For breakfast time. So it's breakfast. So we eat a good breakfast. And then, since that was breakfast, we didn't have lunch. We skipped lunch. So we're going to make up for that lunch. We're going to have a good dinner. And then, suhoor, since we're going to fast for the next 16 hours, we better eat good. It's very interesting that even from the 4th and 5th century scholars, they mention this. That even back then people would do that. Because it's a psychological thing. I haven't eaten and now I need to eat more. So what happens in Ramadan? A lot of us actually eat more than outside of Ramadan. Is this true? It's true. I see that. Right? In Ramadan, the iftar parties are, you find the best dishes that you will never see outside of Ramadan. And for the party that happens after that. So to get that spirituality, taqwa, is by eating less. And when you eat less, your inner desire, your lower self, your nafs, will suppress, and your inner self, your ruh, your heart, will reach to the higher level of taqwa, and it will make you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So eating less, that's the whole purpose, right? Not to eat for 16 hours, right? But if we make up, then we have lost the whole purpose of fasting, to lessen ourselves. And by the way, during Ramadan, we don't hurt ourselves or harm ourselves. We're not eating less because, it's going to make us weak and stuff. That's not the case. It's very healthy. Actually, nowadays it's a big thing now, fasting, right? A lot of people fast. And that's why when they hear, when non-Muslims hear, you guys fast for 30 days? Wow, that's a long time to fast, right? Because when you fast for 36 hours, for example, after 36 hours, your muscles, they start to break down the main protein part, right? For the first, I think it's the first 8 hours where it dilutes all of the nutrients from the food, right? Your liver and all that functions, and then produces the carbs and all that. They start to dilute, and it gives you you burn sugar, so that's your main source of energy. You burn that glucose, right? And then after about 12 hours, you start to burn the fat, which is actually good for your body, right? You should burn fat. And that extends all the way to about 36 hours. After 36 hours, then your muscles start to break down, the main source, the last resort of your energy. So that happens way later on. That comes to when you get to a stage of starvation, right? When you're starving. Right now we're just craving for food. We're not starving. In Ramadan where you're tired, you're hungry, you're not starving. That's actually good for you. And that's why the first few days of fasting, you won't feel the energy until you kind of get to like a week or 10 days. That's where you feel the energy because your blood starts to get better, right? The cholesterol and all the fat start to burn, and then your blood pressure gets better, and where you get healthier and it affects your brain as well. You start to think better, right? And that's why after a meal, what do you feel? Like tired. Like I feel tired. I had some nice big meal before I came. I was tired actually. But when you're hungry, when you're not eating to your fill, that helps you brain function. So that's why if you have a big task to do, try not to eat. Eat after that. You will function better. So fasting, it's a very incredible tool that it will increase your spirituality, right? Of less eating. So eat healthy. Get vitamins, multivitamins is very, very effective in suhoor. Eat healthy food, but eat less. Eat little but good. There's a saying in Urdu, mukhtasar pur asar. Mukhtasar pur asar. Have little but good. It's better than eating, 20 samosas and then you have, heartburn in Taraweeh and you're burping and you're disturbing the guy next to you, right? Your socks was bad enough to have that odor in you. So eating healthy, especially deep fried stuff, is not good for you. Spiritually, physically, in every way. A little bit once in a while, that's fine. To have a little bit of it is fine. So to eating healthy and eating less in Ramadan, and you want to feel that, inshallah, the closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By hunger you will feel what was the reason why we came down to this earth in the first place. It was food. Adam ate from the tree, right? He ate and he had to come down. So Allah wants us to stay away from food to go back there. See that connection? Allah wants us to fast so we can get back there. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to be from those people who get to the highest level, greater level, first class or business class. Whichever can get us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whichever way that makes us from the salihin, from the pious people. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects all of us from anything that makes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unhappy with us. Disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What are the few things that I want to mention? We all talked about the things not to do. What about the to-dos list? Right? The don'ts, we already got that. Right? The 5 things that we mentioned. What are the things to do? There's so many things to do. One is to have barbecue. No, just kidding. It was really good, mashallah. I could smell it when you come in the masjid, mashallah. We'll have a lot of that during Ramadan. And mashallah, that's a good welcoming Ramadan party. Seafood right up there. So what are the things to do? Very few things, simple. And we all know it, it's nothing new. Okay? Number 1 is, mashallah, try to read Quran like, sorry, what's your name? Ismail? What's your name? Yusuf. That's Ismail. Same family, right? Yusuf Ismail. Yusuf is also from the same lineage. To read Quran. This is the month of Quran. This is the month that Quran was revealed. Shahr, we just heard, right? Shahr Ramadan alladhi unzila fi al-Quran. This is the month that the Quran was revealed. Try to read as much as possible. And don't say, I'm going to read Quran. I made this intention and inshallah, Allah will reward me for my intention and alhamdulillah, we made this intention, go home. No. We set a target. We plan. We don't just say that I'm going to go to work or I'm going to go to school or I have this big dream that never comes true. You have to have a plan. You have to have some goals, something practical, right? So let's think of a practical way. There's 600 pages in the Quran, right? Most of them Masahif. They have 20 pages per juz, 600 pages for 30 juz. So if you read 20 pages a day, you will be able to finish the Quran in the whole month, on your own. If you're praying behind Hafid Ismail or other Hafad, mashallah, you heard the whole Quran, mashallah. But you want to do something on your own. right? There's a saying I heard this in Pakistan. Allah bala bar gardan mula. It's Farsi and Pashto thing. Allah bala. The guy went to Allah. He couldn't think of any better intention. He said, Allah bala bar gardan mula. That anything good or bad is on the Imam. Khalas, Allahu Akbar. So don't do that. Do your own thing. Try to have your own thing. So if you do 4 pages per salah, 5 salat, because these 5 salah is one of the things that you have to do, and we'll talk about that. But 5 salah, before every salah 2 pages, and after every salah 2 pages. How long would that take? I asked one of my students, I have little kids who come to me, and little older ones, so I was a teenager, and I asked to read. And read. It took this person, reading from a random page, doesn't know it. It's difficult for her to read, she was struggling. But it took her 4.5 minutes to read 1 page. This is a person that struggles with reading. If you don't struggle, it will take you 2 minutes or even 1 minute. I can read 1 juz in 20 minutes. Right? You have to read fast. Just skip all the mud, jais and all that. So 2 pages before and 2 pages after every salah. Easy. Can do that? Everybody can do it, right? If that's difficult, do 1 page. Do a half a page. But set a goal for doing something of the Quran. This is the month of Quran. Right? The Prophet ﷺ used to recite a lot of Quran. And he used to recite to Jibreel ﷺ. He used to recite to another person. So if you want to pair up with another person, okay, we're both going to read 1 page I read, 1 page you read. Maybe after Taraweeh or before Isha Salat. After you had your nice meal, came, prayed your 2 rakat, and then you recited 2 pages. Or 4 pages. Very easy. So reciting, make that, set a goal for yourself. Don't just let it go like that. Set a goal for reciting Quran. And then, for each juz, for example, for each juz that you recite, try to think of 1 verse that you kind of understand it somewhat. You know what is Jannat, you know what is Insan, and those kind of words that you are familiar with. Okay, I'm getting a little sense of this verse, what is it talking about? I want to go a little more deep into the meaning of this verse. So thinking about the meaning, understanding it, try to apply it to yourself. Right? We heard وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. Why is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned this right after the mentioning of Ramadan? So that's the second thing that I wanted to mention. To make a lot of dua in the month of Ramadan. Allah is always near, and the nearest to you, nearer than your own self. And He knows you better than yourself. And He will answer to your call. One of my teachers used to say, if Allah gave you the ability to say, oh Allah, and you made this dua, if Allah gave you that ability, it means Allah will also accept your dua. Because He wouldn't have given you that ability to make dua. So always when you make dua, have a hope that Allah has accepted it. And Allah, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي, I will be according to the person how he thinks about me. This is what Allah says. So making a lot of dua. And what are the timings for the dua? Also set a goal for that. 5 minutes before iftar, waiting for those samosas and stuff. At tahajjud, just before you eat suhoor, or 5 minutes after your suhoor, before the adhan. Right? Set 5 minutes, 2 minutes. 10 minutes. Get a book of dua and set a goal of finishing the whole book in a day, 2 days, 7 days, or for the whole entire month. There's a nice book out there. It's called a dua a day for Ramadan. 1 dua a day. But always remember, if you're going to use a book or something like that, don't just say the words. Because I need to rush through this and I made this goal, I made this promise, I need to finish it. Make sure you know you're saying it from your heart. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَقْبَلُ دُعَاءً مِنْ قَلْبٍ غَافِلٍ. That Allah does not accept a dua from a heedless heart, a heart that is not there. So whatever dua, even if it's 1 or 2 minutes, if you're not reading from a dua book, make sure you're opening your heart before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you're asking. and you're asking for an accepted dua, and you're asking for an accepted prayer, asking for an accepted fasting, accepted recitation of the Quran, right? And ask Allah for tawfiq for that. So making a lot of dua during Ramadan. So those are the two special times. There are many other times to make dua after every fard salah that you pray. So making a lot of dua. So two things we mentioned: recitation of the Quran and a lot of dua. Number three is a little extra nawafil. Nawafil meaning these nawafil of any act of worship, fard that you have. Your salah, you have fard salah, do an extra 2 rakat of nafil salah. Zakat, we all do our zakat in Ramadan, right? There's always a lot of money we give out because we want to get 70 times, right? That's the whole purpose. Is that true? Why do we give zakat in Ramadan? Because every deed goes to 70 times. Is that right? So, and what will happen to the economy class? Where does that come to? They upgrade. They upgrade to business class. That every little act of worship, nafli ibadah, it becomes as if you are made a fard salah, as a fard zakah. So don't just do the bare minimum. That thing you have to do. You have to pay your zakat, whether you like it or not, because we are believers and we fear Allah and we fear the punishment and we know the effects of not giving zakah. We want our money to grow. We believe in that verse, right? يربي الصدقات. What is it for that? يمحق الله الربا ويربي الصدقات. That Allah increases the sadaqah and the interest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it go to waste. It actually goes to waste. So doing extra nafli ibadah. Anything that is fard, try to do a nafli thing. And the best nafli thing to do in Ramadan, after recitation of the Quran, is to pray, to do salah. Because salah contains all the other ibadat. It contains your fasting, that you're already fasting. And how does that happen? Because you're in salah, you cannot eat, cannot drink, right? And more. وَلَدَيْنَا مَزِيد. There's more. And also you are giving charity. How? How does that apply? How does it include charity? I know you're all tired, I'm tired too, talking for all this time. Huh? Yeah, you said something. Because, as we say, time is money, right? You took your time out of work, school, whatever, your time at home. Your time is money. You took time out and you worked. So you don't get paid in this world, you get paid in the akhirah. So it's like giving a charity. There's also hajj in your salah. How does that apply? Hajj and salah. Very simple and easy. Anyone? When we stand up, we say Allahu Akbar. Where are we raising our hands to? As if we're in front of the Kaaba. Because when you go to the Kaaba, when you make tawaf, before you tawaf, you do istilam. You say Allahu Akbar. And you make istilam, you kiss the Hajar Aswad. So as if you're standing in the front of Hajar Aswad, in front of the Kaaba. And you say Allahu Akbar. So you have pilgrimage in your salah. So all of those great actions that are, and that's why salat is the most important thing. And that's why you have it 5 times a day. That's the inner aspect of it. So doing extra nawafil in your, and that's what we have in Ramadan. What do we have? How many tarawih per year? 20. You have 20 more rakats. Right? There's also 8 ones. Right? The 8ers and the 20ers. Don't think about the number that way. Think about the 40 ways of you getting near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have 40 steps that you're taking. Right? I mentioned 40 is a special number. So in 20 rakats, there are how many sajdas? 40. 40 sajdas in 20 rakats. Every time you make sajda, you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do we know that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Fasjud waqtarib. Make sajda and get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have extra salah. There's only extra salah in Ramadan. Right? And then when you end Ramadan, there's again one extra salah for Eid. after the five. So salah is the most important thing in your life because it contains all those different acts of worship, the major acts of worship. So doing a lot of nafli ibadat. So if you can do these three things and stay away, in terms of staying away from those five things that I mentioned, inshallah you'll have a blessed Ramadan. And you will see the effects of your fasting. And we are not just the economy class people. We want to be from the elite. And hopefully that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raises us among the elite of the elite, from the Anbiya, from the great pious people, from the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give me and all of you tawfiq. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our masjid, this masjid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your imam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our Qari Yusuf and Hafid Ismail and all the great members of your community, our elders of the community. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. May Allah put barakah in your time and your effort and your energy and your ibadat and your contribution to this masjid. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless our youngsters and make them the those who will carry on this torch of guidance and light to the next generation, and they become taking the Noor from the Masjid Noor, and they become Noor ala Noor, and they become a guidance, a beacon of light for all the people. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give shifa to those who are sick in our community. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make those people who are sick, they're able to reach the month of Ramadan with afiyah and well-being. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to be protected from our lower self, from our nafs, from the shaitan, from the things that bring us closer to Jahannam, closer to your punishment and your anger. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from all those actions and make us do actions that bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, closer to His mercy, closer to His pleasure. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring ease and comfort to all those who are suffering in our communities, anywhere in the world, all over. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open doors of your mercy upon them and for their families and for their regions. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to uplift the calamity from the entire Muslim ummah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. O Allah, give us barakah in the remaining days and nights of Sha'ban. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to reach the month of Ramadan. May Allah give us the ability to spend the month of Ramadan that we come out as if we have fasted and we are ready with the Eid to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The day of happiness and enjoyment that we will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. L'Islami farhatan. Oh Allah, give us those two happy moments. The time that we break our fast, the time when we are coming out of our graves, وعند لقاء ربه, and the time that when we meet our Lord. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let us leave this world with iman, faith, with conviction in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the millah of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, on the millah of Ibrahim, Hanifan Muslima. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to let us die with La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. Please forgive me and pardon me if I've taken too long. We were going to listen to a nasheed or not. After Salat? Whoa, there's a lot. And there's more. 5-minute dhikr? After Aisha, it's a long window that goes up to Fajr. Aisha, at least we have to break for Salah.
الله أكبر.
अकबर अल्लाहु अकबर अल्लाहु अकबर अल्लाहु अकबर अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह अशहदु अल्ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदर रसूलुल्लाह अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदर रसूलुल्लाह हय्या अलल सलाह हय्या अलल फलाह हय्या अलल फलाह हय्या अलल फलाह हय्या अलल सलाह हय्या अलल फलाह हय्या अलल सलाह हय्या अलल फलाह 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 ह